You've had this app idea for months, but it's still sitting in a doc somewhere, and no one's reading it. You've watched tutorials, bookmark walkthroughs, and still you don't know where to start. Meanwhile, people with worse ideas are shipping MVPs and getting real traction. This video shows you exactly how to build your first working app in FlutterFlow, even if you're not technical, so you can finally ship something real, stop wasting money on devs, and get your idea out into the world. And you know what? You're not too late, but waiting another 3 months could cost you a client, a feature, or a lead that you keep putting off. You don't need to learn to code or hire a dev team. FlutterFlow handles 90% of the technical stuff that you need. Now today, we're not going to be building the next Uber. You're going to be building a clean, client-facing app that does one job well, so you can get it live and start learning from real users. Now let's go over what you need to have before we get started with FlutterFlow. All you need to do is start an account for free, and if you want the step-by-step guide and how to get started as a beginner, there's going to be a link down below that will go step by step as we go through this. But remember, this is free. You can watch this free on YouTube and get started today for free. So you're going to need a free account, and then we get started. Once you log in, you're going to be taken to the main area here, and on the left-hand side, you're going to be able to navigate to your projects, add team members if you need to, check out the marketplace where you can either buy different components or download stuff from free. It really depends on what you're trying to build, but there's a marketplace right here. Then you have resources, and then you can talk to the community as well. You can log into that. That's what we got. Now, as we go into this, and let's go back to the main section right here, we're going to click projects on the left-hand side, and then at the top on the right-hand corner right here, we're going to click create new. Now, this allows us to create a brand new project. What we're going to do is start off with something very basic. So I'm just going to say client app, and then I'm going to say 2026 alpha. Okay. So once we have a title right here, we can start in a couple different ways. We can first decide on getting started with the template that will allow us to move faster, or we can just start building. Depends on what you're looking for, but what I would probably focus on is first looking at something easy so we can understand the layout, to understand different things, and then go from there. For example, like the barbershop template, that could work if that's going to be your target demographic, but you see that it's 27 pages, 44 components, 3 custom functions. That's a lot to learn all at once. What I would probably do is focus on that landing page right here. We have 6 components and 6 pages. We're going to use that template right here. Project again, I'm just going to say client 2026 alpha. We'll have a project name, and it says name can only have numbers. Yeah, that's no hyphens right there. Okay, shared project with team. We're just going to create the project. Okay, so once we get started, we're going to get the welcome sequence right here. We'll be able to learn more, watch tutorials if you want to, and go from there. Let's get into what we're looking at right here. We're going to start on the left-hand side, and then we're going to go across the page to the right. Now, let's back up and think about what we're doing here. This allows us to drag and drop things onto our screen. So imagine if you've ever created a website where you're having different components and you're building out the website, this is what you're going to have. But let's give a little bit more context of what we're going to have on the left-hand side and what makes this so much more powerful than just a website or a drag and dropper. On the left-hand side, we have a couple different things under the build section and then connect. Bottom line, the build section is visually what you're going to be able to see. If we click on the different ones, such as the section right here, this is going to allow us to navigate and go into what we're seeing right here. And so that's the canvas, and let's scroll over widget palette, right? So we have all the different things that we can drag and drop over here onto the main area if we want to, and go from there. Now, this is something important. If you are used to using something like Webflow or some kind of progression where you're having a widget tree, this allows you to progress throughout the page. And as we scroll across, we're going to see how we can go to different parts of the page. For example, the home page, we have everything, but if we look at the container, now we can see what the container has right here, the stack, and going from there. So the column, how it's structured. And so if we're thinking about this, the container is going to hold everything, and then we're going to add things to the container. We're going to add a column for structure, and then we're going to add the text. We're going to add all of those things. So this is giving us a widget tree. This is giving us how the whole page is structured right here. If we click the arrow, we can basically expand each section and see how it's structured, right? So we have that little arrow right there. That's going to allow us to get more granular of each container. So this is the home page. If we click the container right here, then we can see what the container has here. Then the container has stack, columns, etc., right? So this allows us to see if we want to edit something, we can be really specific in getting to where we want on the page. Now, say for instance, we want to change the text in the, we'll say the text in the header. Now, if I scroll over to the text right here, right, we see that the text is highlighted right here. That's great. And what can I do now with the text? Now that I have it selected, right? So this is the header. This is the subheading. I'm seeing what it's highlighting in the middle. This is the text portion. And then if we go across the page on the right, now we can change what that text is. For example, it says the new age of mobile app development. I'm just going to change it to like, I like pie. Okay, so we have everything here that we can change. So again, we selected everything on the left from the widget tree. We're looking at what the canvas is looking like in the middle. And then on the right, we can start being really granular or specific of what we want that text to do. For example, that text, we can change it visually, we can change the positioning, the type of font we have, and the list goes on and on what we can do. The color, the gradients, all of those things. There's also another thing to keep in mind. Where it says text right here, there's going to be that little hover right here. This will allow us to see the settings of what we're going to do for that text. And here we see it's a variable. So what does that mean? That allows us to decide what are we going to do with this text? What are the different things that it could do? So here we can have a lot of different things here. For example, we can go with a page parameter. We can go with a global properties, app state, widget state, date, all those things, random data, custom functions. This allows us to really focus on what's on the canvas, what's on the mobile app, what's on the page right there, and then change what we want to do here. And this is going ahead when we go to any section here. So if I want to visually click on something instead of going on the widget tree and actually go there, I can then decide to click a button and then start working on what do I want that button to do, right? So we can go from there, we can click the text, we can click the container, and then we can start deciding what we're going to do. Okay, so we see that we can do basic things from the left-hand side. We can see what's happening in the middle, which is showing us what's happening on the canvas. And then the right-hand side, we're having some details of what we can do with the different text or the different properties and everything. But if we go all the way in this section at the top, if we look at it right here, we have widget styling. Then we can go into action. So when they click on the text or click on the button, what do we want to happen? Then we have the add query. So that's what is it doing with the information on the back end. We can go into animation, and then we can also do documentation. And that way the whole team knows what are we doing, how are we making this kind of application in this page. So bottom line, if we're backing up and we're thinking about using this, first we've got to think about what kind of application are we creating? What's the single most important feature? We always start with the MVP, the minimal viable product. What is the main thing is this platform or this app going to do? And then we can start planning out, okay, when we click this button, this is what we want to happen. We want it to take this kind of action. We need to have it connect to this back end, all of those things, right? One last thing is if we look at a button right here, we say add, and you see all of the different things that we could do with that one action. Say, for instance, if there's a click or what do we want to happen when that's getting started. Okay, so that's on the build. We can add different things to the page. We can add different widgets here. We can navigate the different pages from this section here. We can go to all the different pages, the about page, contact page, all of those things. And then whatever we want to change, we can click it and then start modifying. The next portion is the storyboard tab. Now this allows us at a glance to understand the application. When we're navigating, when we're doing different things, we can decide to see, okay, what am I doing with the app? And if I click certain things, what will happen? What's the navigation? So we can scroll and see the navigation here and then go from there. This one's almost, if I'm feeling overwhelmed and I need to know like what's the template going to do, I can go here, but also too, as you're building out the page, you're going to be able to see what navigates to what and help you to plan out. But again, start with something simple. All right, so we've gone through the build section. Let's take a look at the connect section. So we said build, let's go with the connect. Connect section is how you are storing the data. So here you can do a couple things. Number one, you can create a collection, and that just means how you're structuring the data and how you're collecting it. Think of it just like a spreadsheet that has superpowers. You can also add Firebase here as well. And this is another product from Google, but Firebase allows you to create that database. So you can have user authentication, you can be saving all different types of data. You can be doing that, and you can integrate it pretty easily if you want to use Firebase. Then you also have right here for connecting and validating basically the structure of the data. Okay, we also have the data schema here. We have the app state, so set up elements that you want to keep stored in your local device. Depends on what kind of app and what you want to do. You have that here. You can also have a section for API calls. So you can start setting up your APIs, how it's going to connect to different things. And we have a whole video down below that will be linked if you want to see examples of that. But bottom line, this allows you to think about if you're connecting it to whatever apps that you have. Say, for instance, it's another, and for APIs, it's just if you are talking to a different system and it needs to exchange information. So maybe if you're looking at APIs from either Star Wars, there's an API for that, or Pokemon. If you want to call or get information from a certain system, you can set all of those things up right here. You can create API groups or create an API call right here. You can go test it and have everything already stored here. Also, you have media assets that you can have. Then we have custom code if you want to, and then cloud functions. So depending on what you're trying to do in your application, you have all of those different things that you can have in this section. Also too, this is great. You can also do automated tests. You have to upgrade, but this allows you to make sure everything's working correctly. You also have AI agents that will help you configure, and help you with your projects. You can also do that as well, depending on what you're trying to create. You can build out your themes, and you can either generate with AI your themes, and you can do the same thing with your typography and icons. Design of the system, so you can connect Figma if you're using Figma, or also you have your theme widgets here. And then the section with the app settings, this allows you to start thinking about how you're going to connect everything. Your Firebase, what platforms, if you're going to make this an app, and then also do you want to connect it to Braintree, Stripe, RevenueCat, depending on how you're going to get paid. Tons of things. And also too, if you have a team and they're developers and you want to connect it to GitHub, you can do that as well. So there's tons of different things that you can be doing with FlutterFlow. And one of the benefits of this is you can be using this to structure your exact app. And if you want to, depending on the plan that you have, you can export the code too. That way your team can take it to a whole nother level. If they do not want to use a visual builder like this, they can also have access to this as well. In the comment section down below, let me know. Have you used FlutterFlow before? Is this something that you're interested in? Let us know. Now here's the point. FlutterFlow has tons of different pre-built components to map out your user journey in under an hour. No design from scratch, no databases, no headaches. Now, where most people waste time and how to avoid it. Don't get stuck styling screens or adding every feature you've dreamed of. Ship the ugly version first, then improve based on what your users actually do. Now, you don't need to publish to the App Store. You can just use a web link to your clients, and that counts as a launch. Start there, get their feedback, and then go from there. You can always launch to the App Store later. If clients are using it, ask questions or get feedback. See that it's working. And then your job is to observe, not to perfect. Now, this is one option that you could use to get started using FlutterFlow today. Now, if you're saying, hey, this is great, but way too many different options, there's still another option as well. You could be doing something else and you could be using Dreamflow to get started even faster using AI. Now, Dreamflow is from the same team of FlutterFlow, and there are some advantages to scale even faster using Dreamflow. And if you're interested in that, the link is going to be down below to see that video on how to get started with Dreamflow. Remember, whatever you choose to have, there are pros and cons of what platforms that you can use. Remember, FlutterFlow, this is going to allow you to visually build, and it could be based on the functionality that you want. You can scale or even to the enterprise level without paying for all the AI credits if you're going to be building and structuring the app yourself. Again, you can use AI to move quicker, but this allows you to build a structure and you're actually going to be building out the different pages, connecting it, all those things. Versus if you're going to be using something like Dreamflow, you're going to be able to move quicker using AI agents to build your app in minutes. If you want to see that video, there's going to be a link down below to go step by step in using Dreamflow today.